Oh my god. Hey, Steph here. Today we're going to be talking about the long-awaited Chrono Trigger. So, if you don't know, Chrono Trigger is a 1995 SNES game, and the version that I played, because I do not own a SNES, was the 2001 PlayStation 1 version. It was bundled with Final Fantasy IV as part of Final Fantasy Chronicles, and is actually a vastly inferior version of the game, because Chrono Trigger on PlayStation had horrible load times, and I started playing the game on my PlayStation 1, but it would take 30 seconds to a minute to open the menu, of all things, which is kind of important when you're playing an RPG. So I actually switched and played it on my PS2, and on the PS2 it ran slightly better. It only took about 10 to 15 seconds to open the menu and to get into battles. So definitely, first pro tip, if you have a choice in the matter, play Chrono Trigger on its original format on the SNES. Chrono Trigger, general information. There isn't a whole lot to go into because, well, it was developed by 3 titans, 4, 5, 6 even. So I'm just going to run them off here, and if you're not familiar with any of these people, well then shame on you. So we've got Sakaguchi-san, Hori-san, Toriyama-san, animation by Toei Animation in the PlayStation version, not in the original. Masato Kato, Ted Woolsey did the localization, and Yasunori Mitsuda and Uematsu-san did the music for the game. So pretty much if you've ever played a Square RPG, you have heard of these people. Generally, okay, so how did I come to Chrono Trigger and why did I play it and all of that good stuff? So Chrono Trigger has, like some of the other games I've played in the past, i.e. Ocarina of Time, is frequently on the lists of best games of all time. It basically has been long revered as like a staple of RPGs and JRPGs, and it is widely regarded as pretty much the precedent for the genre in the SNES days in the 1990s. So pretty much everything I've heard about it was good. I've never heard or read or seen a bad review of Chrono Trigger at this point. My first experience with this game was actually, I watched a speed run of it at Summer Games Done Quick 2015. There was a co-op 100% speed run of Chrono Trigger in 5.5 hours. So seeing the game kind of broken in that way was like really inspiring and really cool. So I love watching speedruns of games, and especially RPGs, because I know how long it typically takes me to finish one. When I actually went and played it, it took about 25 hours. So by RPG standards, it's actually extremely short. The thing with that though is of course Chrono Trigger has multiple endings, branching storyline paths. You can choose to save or kill certain characters, and so it kind of changes a lot of the dynamic. With all that said, I'm going to try and keep it a little more brief and just pick a few talking points. So graphics wise, I mean, it's SNES era, it's sprite artwork. It is literally the most beautiful sprite artwork I've ever seen. Everything from the characters and their animations to the backgrounds and set pieces, everything. The thing with Chrono Trigger that sticks out to me the most is just its immense attention to detail, and everything that the game does is just created with so much love and so much attention to detail, and it's just everything about it is beautiful and is extremely well done. So the dungeon designs are absolutely insane, and the just environments from spanning, you know, the game is, at its core, it's a game about time travel, right? So you see the same areas over multiple periods of time, and seeing the small differences that occur and seeing the changes that you physically make while you're playing the game is hugely meaningful and impactful. And so, you know, I think the Black Omen, which is the game's optional final dungeon, you know, it is, like, aesthetically, like, the coolest thing that I've ever seen come out of that era. And, like, I haven't played a ton of SNES RPGs. I have played FF4 and FF6, and compared to those, which I both thought were amazing games, like, Chrono Trigger blows them out of the water. Music and sound effects, like, there's almost literally nothing I can say except for the fact that, you know, it's, everything about it is just amazing, and sound design is immaculate, and there's not much I can gush about more than I already have. I mean, Umat's worked on it, and I took my time playing with it because I didn't want it to end. You know, it was that simple. Like, I took over 2 months to play a 25-hour game, but I just wanted the experience to last. Storyline, so I basically, like, Chrono Trigger is, if there's one thing that you want to associate with Chrono Trigger, if you know nothing about the game at all, it's that, well, it's a game about time travel. And so, you know, literally within, like, the first 15 minutes, you're traveling through time, and you're playing as a silent protagonist, Chrono, and, you know, you go through numerous different eras and epochs, and you're recruiting characters from different time periods for different reasons, lots of different reasons. Everybody has different motives, and you're all eventually teaming up to fight this bad guy named Lavos, who is a kind of alien that wants to, at the end of the game, they kind of throw in this, like, crazy existentialist twist, and it's, like, all about evolution and the sort of development of DNA. It gets a little deep towards the end, but for the most part, it's kind of just this, like, wonderfully joyous romp through the ages, and you're just kind of going through and just doing things, and sometimes you don't even know why. It's incredible to me how a small choice, such as telling a woman to plant a tree when she was told to burn it, like, goes on and becomes this huge side quest, like, 12,000 years later, and it's incredible, and everything is just immaculate the way that it's just presented, and it doesn't, like, inundate you with too much information. Like, the characters all get their limelight and they get their moments to shine, but they're not, you know, the game is not weighed down by too much text and too much dialogue and too much explanation, which is one thing that I find is occurring a lot more recently, especially in RPGs, in that developers and scriptwriters will go head over fucking heels to explain to you what exactly is going on, and, like, I don't want or need that, and Chrono Trigger does it beautifully in that it kind of just gives you enough information that you can get through it, and you don't have to get everything. Like, you don't have to understand the meaning of life and the reason for existence and all of that in order to enjoy Chrono Trigger. Like, you don't even have to worry about that, because, like, the characters are strong enough on their own to, like, just keep your attention and drag you along with them, you know, whether you want to be dragged or not. When I played, I got the Epoch ending, and I'm not sure exactly how many endings the game has, but there are more than 10, I know. Just the fact that I haven't seen so much content of the game, I've already invested 25 hours into it, like, that's easily going to double if I decide to go through and play my New Game Plus, so that's all good stuff, and I'm all for it. For the record, Frog is the best character. Controls and gameplay, like, it uses the ATB utilized in the early Final Fantasy games, so, you know, that's all well and good and excellent, and I actually felt that is a much stronger version of ATB, because just in general, like, I found this game immensely difficult at times, like immensely, and it's all about strategy. It's insane how much planning and thinking you have to do in order to just defeat certain bosses, because if you don't have the right party members, if you don't have the right setup, if you don't have the right equipment, you will wipe over and over and over again. And the difficulty in an RPG is something that has kind of been done away with a lot, and I find most modern RPGs simply easier to play. And like, for instance, playing an older action game like Zelda is completely different, because action games can come down to really having like wonky controls and a bad camera, but like in Chrono Trigger everything's fixed and you're literally running on gauges, so it's literally about execution still. Like, your timing can be off, but gameplay, you know, can't fault it at all. I loved utilizing different strategies and trying out different techs. Like, the tech system in general, I think, is the most brilliant and the coolest part about Chrono Trigger, is just seeing the different ways that your character's singular abilities can combine and create these awesome group attacks and like just troll everything. So, you know, by the end of the game, I kind of just relied on Ayla and Chrono's Falcon hit, but, you know, it's still like trying to experiment and seeing the different outcomes that you get. And, you know, if you don't have the fire absorbing armor equipped, and, you know, how much easier is it when you do? So there's so much room for experimentation, and strategy is needed. You cannot brute force your way through this game unless you are on New Game Plus, I guess. So it's pretty awesome in that regard. I've already gone on record and said that this is the best RPG that I have ever played, and that is like a huge admission for me. Like, the fact that I am so moved by this game that is 20 years old, more than 20 years old. The fact that it has had this impact on me, who has played a lot of RPGs in my day, I will say. Like, a lot of Square RPGs as well. So, while in the past I would have given, like, Final Fantasy X my best overall, like, RPG that you should and need to play, Chrono Trigger is the new king, and it absolutely, like, everything about it, I feel like every person owes it to themselves to play Chrono Trigger, because everything about it is just so worthwhile, and it's short, too. Like, that's the best part, is, you know, doing all of the side quests took me to 25 hours, and that was it. If you don't do the side quests, you can still probably easily beat the game. It's one that I wish I had the nostalgia factor for. Like, I actually really wish that I had played this in the past so that I could be nostalgic when I hear the music. Like, I was 3 years old when Chrono Trigger came out, so that's just simply not possible, but there's so much room for imagination, and you know, what kind of impact and effect am I going to have based on what I'm doing, you know, 65 million years in the past, for me to finally have this kind of extremely touching and moving RPG experience, even 20 years too late. You know, it means a lot, and to me as a person and a gamer, and so I am so happy that I finally decided to go for it and do it, because it's made a difference. And so the next step is, like, I actually want to keep playing, so like I literally just beat it a couple days ago at the time of this recording. So I will, like, I'm gonna take my time with it. Like, I'm still not in a rush, but I do want to try to unlock all or as many of the endings that I can, so that is next on the agenda. And then I don't know if I'm going to regret this, but I have already decided what the next game that I will tackle for this series is going to be, and I had the brilliant idea to tackle Chrono Cross next, which is Technically a sequel to Chrono Trigger. It was also a PS1 game. I have it on PSN. So, I don't know much about Chrono Cross. It's not like a direct sequel or anything, but I think it does reuse some of the same characters and locations, but it's more about dimension hopping or something like that, and I don't have a ton of information about it. I just know that it has, while it is like largely acclaimed for the most part, it is still not as nearly highly revered as Chrono Trigger, which, like, I'll say again, is the best RPG of all time, quite possibly. So, like, there you go. Like, there's nothing else to say. Go play Chrono Trigger. Go buy it. I don't care how you have to play it. It's on SNES. It's on PSN. It's on mobile, and it's on DS. So there's a way to play it, I promise, for everyone. So go check it out, because it is gonna change your life. So that's all I can do, and that's all I can say. So guys, in the time that it took from when I filmed the first bit and from filming this bit, my computer has been out of sorts. So I actually have gone back and have had the time to finish the Chrono Trigger all endings, and I gotta say, like, that was a great experience playing through the New Game Plus and, like, taking Lavos down with just Marley and Chrono, and, like, getting back all up to speed and all of that and all of the good stuff, and reliving the adventure was pretty awesome, even if it only took me a much shorter amount of time. So just wanted to throw that out there and say that I did that. I have not yet begun to play Cross, but for the record, favorite ending will definitely be the Oath ending, of course, because we got good old Sir Frog. But with all that, I do now have all of my computer pieces back in stock, and it should be fixed very soon, so I hope to be getting more videos out again. So stay tuned for all that, and thanks for tuning in to the Chrono Trigger Awareness Check.